The diplomatic chamber aboard the Galactic Council Station gleamed with bioluminescent panels, casting an ethereal blue glow across the assembled delegates. Susan Martinez stood beside Evan Chen, both representing Earth in what was supposed to be humanity's routine integration ceremony. Their palms were sweaty, but they maintained diplomatic smiles. "The mind touch is merely a formality," Ambassador Zireth explained, their translucent tentacles undulating with what the translation software rendered as reassurance. "Telepath Krivaz will scan your surface thoughts to verify peaceful intent. All species undergo this." Amen. Susan exchanged a glance with Evan. They'd been briefed about this, but briefings couldn't quite prepare you for having an alien dig through your mind. Krivaz approached, a being of flowing silver light contained within a vaguely humanoid crystalline form. The telepath was among the most powerful in the known galaxy, capable of sensing thoughts across star systems. Thousands of species had passed through Krivaz's consciousness without incident. "I shall begin with the female." Krivaz's voice resonated directly in their minds, bypassing spoken language entirely. Susan nodded, trying to think calm, peaceful thoughts. She pictured beaches, her grandmother's garden, anything serene. Krivaz extended a crystalline appendage and placed it against Susan's temple. The scream that followed wasn't heard with ears, it detonated directly into every mind within the chamber. Krivaz's form flickered violently, light strobing in patterns that suggested agony, confusion, and something that might have been terror. The telepath collapsed, their crystalline body cracking against the floor, dimming to near darkness. Medical personnel rushed forward. Evan grabbed Susan's shoulders. "Are you okay? What happened?" "I don't know." Susan's voice shook. "I didn't do anything." Ambassador Zireth approached cautiously, scanning Susan with multiple sensory organs. "The human appears unharmed. But Krivaz, this is unprecedented." It took 3 cycles for Krivaz to regain consciousness. When the telepath finally spoke, their mental voice carried an edge of something the translator struggled to interpret. Perhaps awe, perhaps horror. "I must try again," Krivaz declared. "But with the male. I must understand." The council advised against it. The medical team protested. But Krivaz insisted, with an intensity that bordered on obsession. Evan stepped forward. "If it helps humanity's case, I'll do it." This time, Krivaz approached with visible hesitation. The crystalline being's light pulsed erratically. "Prepare yourself, human." The moment Krivaz made contact with Evan's mind, the chamber exploded with psychic feedback. But this time, Krivaz held on, maintaining the connection even as their form shuddered violently. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Then Krivaz released Evan and staggered backward, steadying themselves against a console. "Impossible," the telepath whispered into every mind present. "Utterly impossible." The council members leaned forward, their various appendages, stalks, and sensory organs focused intently. "Explain," demanded Council Head Varmoth, a being of pure energy contained in a magnetic field. Krivaz's light pulsed in complex patterns. "I have touched the minds of 6,000 species across 12,000 worlds. I have experienced the thoughts of hive minds spanning continents, of singular consciousnesses that dream in quantum states, of species who think in colors we cannot perceive. But humans." The telepath paused, and when they continued, there was something like reverence in their mental voice. "A human mind contains multitudes. This one," Krivaz gestured to Evan. "In a single second of contact, I experienced his current thoughts. Yes, but also 17 parallel thought processes. Memories flowing in constant streams, emotions layered upon emotions, chemical reactions, creating new feelings, even as old ones faded, imagination constructing scenarios that don't exist, conscience debating ethics, instinct contradicting reason, conscious thought wrestling with subconscious impulse. And beneath it all, an endless, chattering voice, a narrative consciousness that never, ever stops. The chamber fell silent. And that's just the surface, Krivaz continued. Beneath that lies memory, not simple recorded data like other species, but living memory that changes with each recollection, that connects to emotions, that triggers cascades of association. One thought of childhood leads to the smell of rain, which connects to a song, which recalls a person, which brings forth longing, which sparks imagination about what could have been, which triggers analysis of current choices. All of this in the span of a microsecond. Susan found her voice. Is that unusual? Unusual? Krivaz's laugh was psychic and borderline hysterical. The Zil-Eth have the fastest processors in the galaxy. They think in computational precision. The Kathrax experience time non-linearly. The minds of Andromeda contemplate mathematics that shape reality itself. But humans, you think about everything, all at once, constantly, in chaos that somehow functions as order. Ambassador Zir-Eth's tentacles had gone rigid. Are they dangerous? Dangerous? No. Krivaz moved closer to Susan and Evan, examining them like precious artifacts. They're magnificent. Do you understand what you do? Every moment, you experience contradiction, wanting peace, but preparing for war, loving others while protecting yourself, believing in hope while acknowledging despair. You hold opposing truths simultaneously and call it nuance. You experience pain and still choose kindness. You face a vast, uncaring universe and respond with art, music, stories. You create meaning where none exists. Evan rubbed his temple. You're saying other species don't think like this? The Zil-Eth think, but do not feel. The empathoids feel, but do not reason against it. The Kathrax exist in pure logic. Every species has found their balance, their specialization. Krivaz's form brightened. But humans never specialized. You kept everything, every evolutionary adaptation, every cognitive tool, every emotional response. Your minds are not efficient. They're messy, contradictory, overwhelming storms of consciousness. Krivaz turned to the council. I screamed because touching a human mind is like diving into a star. Too much light, too much heat, too much existence happening at once. They don't just think thoughts. They experience them with their entire being. Council head Varmoth processed this. And your recommendation for Earth's application? Krivaz's light pulsed with certainty. The galaxy needs minds that can embrace contradiction, that can imagine the impossible while building the practical, that can hold hope and fear in equal measure and still choose to move forward. We've achieved interstellar civilization through specialization. Perhaps humans will show us what's possible through chaos. Susan and Evan stood there, somewhat stunned, as the council chamber erupted in discussion. Evan leaned toward Susan. Did we just get approved because our brains are basically cosmic horror to telepaths? Susan smiled. Very human of us, honestly. Krivaz, overhearing, sent a pulse of what might have been psychic laughter.